This week, the country is commemorating the anniversary of the October 7th massacre with a series of events and interviews. ILTV's Maayan Hoffman sat down with United Hatzalah psychotrauma first responder and EMT Nili Zivan, who left her young children at home in southern Israel on October 7th to help save lives. Let's take a look at some excerpts from that conversation.
Nili, thank you so much for being here. So I want you to take me back to the morning of October 7th. When did you start to realize that the unimaginable was happening?
Well, my day started at 6:30 in the morning. There were explosions right outside of my community. We live in the middle of the Negev. Where we live, we actually do not get rockets or sirens usually, so we already knew that something unusual was happening. Although it was Saturday and we observed Shabbat, we opened our phones because we understood that something was happening. Fast forward a little into the day, I got my first call as a psychotrauma first responder. There were Nova Festival survivors who had fled from the party just as the terrorists were arriving. They had picked up someone into their car, and I was called basically to do first response psychotrauma. And while I was speaking with them, I understood from them that there were terrorists, hundreds and tens of terrorists just driving around on motorcycles. And already then I understood that that's something really, really crazy.
That day, you treated, as we said, soldiers, civilians, people with emotional and traumatic challenges, and also people with physical issues. What was the most difficult part of the whole day?
I think the hardest part of that day was when we had arrived at Urim base that had just been evacuated from soldiers. After there were battles going on there, it was really quiet when we got there. There were about 12 ambulances, Hatzalah, Amada, and Army, and it was supposed to be a point where they were going to bring injured people, and from there we were going to evacuate them ASAP. And we sat there for about 2 hours waiting for them to bring people, and only a few people had come.
And that's because they couldn't get to you.
They couldn't get to us. Most of them were stuck in their homes. There were terrorists everywhere up until a little next to where we were, and for that reason, we understood already how bad it is if they can't even get to us.
It's been a year since October 7th. Looking back, what kind of perspective on life has your perspective on life changed, and how has your volunteer work with United Hatzalah been different after this experience?
I believe in mankind, and I believe in the better. And although there's a small fraction of very evil people in the world, I'm not going to let them ruin that for me. So I think that's where my mind is, and that's pretty much what keeps me going from there on.
Amazing. What message do you want to share with others who may be grappling with the trauma of the day, and how do you find the strength to keep helping those in need after all you've been through yourself?
Well, I think if I take the fact that I believe in the better, and I believe that, if there's a down, then there has to be an up, and there will be better days, and we have to believe it, because otherwise we won't be able to wake up in the morning. And we have seen better days, so I think that there's no reason for us to not to believe that will come. And as dark as it may feel sometimes, sometimes we have to believe that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
Wow. Well, Nili, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.